Hello everyone, welcome to Hash It Out. I am your host Toya Zhang. Today with me is Usagi with RSS3.
Hi guys, I'm Usagi. I'm the co-founder of RSS3. So in RSS3, we basically indexing and becoming the feed of the Web3 industry. Yeah, this is a short introduction, so we probably can catch it on later.
Yeah, we'll expand it later.
Yeah.
Tell us about the history of it. When did you start?
All right, yeah. So basically, we starting RSS3 at 2 years ago, and at the beginning, we having a fundamental team that's around 5 people, and so we're starting to do the blockchain indexing solutions, and we're starting to provide the APIs to end users, and we also made some CN apps that have quite fun. And after that, we starting to grow around 40 people to today. Yeah.
Yeah. RSS3 is really popular for for a period of time. So what happened at the beginning of this year? I remember.
Well, yeah. Just like Toya just mentioned. So we closed a round of the ventures at the end of last year. Yes, and it's leading by CoinShares, Coinbase, Dragonfly, and all the other top-notch chain ecosystem ventures. So basically, they are really interesting to what we're building. And so R3 is a distributed indexing service that we deploy our nodes and our distributed nodes to our distributed networks. And in this network, that the nodes indexing the chain data, they're real time, and we do ETL that provided to the developers. So for example, developer want to create a dApps on Ethereum, Binance chain, Binance Smart Chain, and Polygons, Avalanche, Arbitrum, all of this chain. If that's the case, they probably need to getting the data and the contents on this chain one by one. So with RS3, that you only need one API call to get all of your data that you needed. Yeah.
I think that will be coming to a point that we explain why it is called RSS3.
Well, yeah, I'm a bit too far from it. It's all right.
Yeah. So why did you name it in this way? And were you planning to do this blockchain indexing at the beginning?
Well, yeah. At the beginning, it's simply as that. We do believe that the contents and the information should be free flowing in this whole world. And actually, fun fact, to be honest, at the beginning we didn't call RSS3. Our name is the Air Protocols, but we didn't go with that name thanks to Suji. He's the founder of Mars Network. He said you guys supposed to using RSS3. And even at the beginning, the RSS3 didn't mean the RSS for Web3 industry. It's actually the third version of the RSS itself. So in the end, the RSS protocol itself that update only to 2.0. Then things happens and people starting to not using it anymore. So at the beginning, we just simply consider it as the third version, 3.0 of our RSS. Then the whole Web3 wave is coming, and we are just simply as much as that. So yeah, this is how it ends.
Well, it sounds like a perfect name now, especially when Web3.
Well, yeah, in this scenario, yes. A lot of people, if you're a techie guy, you basically already know what we're doing because RSS stands for feed at the beginning and until today. So the RSS3 is the Web3 feed. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So if people always compare, saying the Web3 is the early stage, no, sorry, let me paraphrase. So we are at the very early stage of Web3, just as the 90s of the internet age, right? And RSS is also a very early service being provided in the internet age. So if we draw a comparison like that, what will be the next? What will be the next service or how does RSS service will evolve into as the next stage?
Right. So first, about the Web3 industry is quite hard to compare when is the end of our Web3. We didn't actually realize the Web2 era is fade out ever since people are starting to talk about Web3. So I would say probably maybe next decade, or I don't know, even longer, when people start to building Web4, then we will conclusion, okay, from the past, that's Web3, and in the future, we call it Web4. But until that day, most of the builders in this industry just actually building this Web3 that what we're calling by our own identification and conclusions from it. And for RSS3, I'll definitely say we are putting a lot of leverage on the contents and the informations, and we do believe that in this Web3 industry that RSS3 can be the key point of the transmission and the free flow of the data.
Yeah, but I think content and information indicate for mass adoption of Web3 if we come into that point, right? What's the bottleneck now? Like, why people like? Is it a lack of information, lack of content on the blockchain, or is it the Web2 giants still dominating the information sharing? Like, from your point of view, what are the bottlenecks for the development?
Well, in current status, most of the contents are still generated in Web2, and this is something that we all expected because the Web2 ecosystem owns your social connections. They owns your families, friends, and everything you posted. People posted things for attractions, right? If there's no friend of me on Web3, why would I post it? Who am I gonna show them to? So we can see there will be a massive adoption when no matter it's like the social graph or the decentralized identifications or like the content creators starting to adopt into the Web3. We are still at very early stages, and we've been also trying some interesting way to test and do some experience to the end users, how the Web3 flows can be impact to the a person's social life. And we also try some hybrid mode, like you can currently, if you install a plugin that we write, so you can sign a on-chain contracts that prove you own this Twitter, and for example, it's a Twitter, and every time if you post in the future, this RSS3 blockchain, RSS3 distributed network will be able to index your tweet from Web2 to on-chain.
Is there an incentive provided, because that's how you drive users to?
Yes, we do have some all sort of incentive because at the early stages, but also we having a lot of users that just coming for, they just simply no longer trust Web2, but they can't leave from it. So they are starting using our hybrid mode, so they can post as an old way, but all his content already be syncing into blockchains. Yes.
That doesn't solve the problem of Web2, like the
it
monopoly.
Won't. It won't. We also can see that these Web2 giants is starting to pivoting, like they are starting to embrace the Web3. But this whole Web3 story, like this opinion that I'm always talking about, it's not about who's gonna win this Web2 or Web3 competitions. It's about people. Like if eventually one day all these tech giants, they are starting to using one standard to sharing their users' data, and then this evolution already being success. Our evolution is already be accomplished by they already embrace the Web3 sort of way.
Yeah.
So yeah, people win. That's all that matters.
I agree. This is not a competition. And eventually it's going to be a habit, right? Like where do you put, where does your network, social network will happening? Like eventually, like if everyone's habit is to post on Web3, then that's the winner in this. But from my understanding of the transition period of time, or Web2 and Web3 is going to have a long, like overlapping period of time, as you said, the hybrid model, right?
Yeah.
Like incentive is a very key point, or some gamification things, right? Because you cannot just tell a story saying, oh, it's decentralized store, decentralized interactive, then people will naturally move. That's not gonna happen because that's not human nature, right? So are you going to be partnering with some Web3 social network projects, or how do you kind of like incubate your whole network?
Well, yes, we do have collaborations with some Web3 native social platforms like protocols, like for example Lens. We just announced the collaborations that all of their contents are being natively hosted on polygons, and we already index and we are the official partner of the polygons.
Right.
So all of their Lens protocol stuff can be distributed through RSS3.
Yeah.
Yes, and we also even collaboration with some Web2 industry. One of their app, I just not gonna call their name in here, but they already self-volunteer giving out all their data, but with the users' consent, and then we are doing a one-off sign. Then their users' contents already also being adapted to these Web3.
Yeah.
Yes.
The infrastructures of blockchain and bridge and cross-chain technologies, do you think they're ready? Now is the time to build applications?
I'll have to say it's still at very early stages, but it's already be able to taking over like for most of the minimum usable concept proving, and but the main problem is not about technology at this stage. It's still about humanities. That no matter it's like the app developers or the users, they are still having this sort of period that they are actually looking both way and to trying to find which is the more possibility to win the next battle. So there's no battle, but there's battle everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Final question.
Yeah.
About competition.
Cool.
Yes. So, like from my experience and things that I've learned, I've never heard of another blockchain indexing project. If there is any, correct me, but if there is not, how long do they require for the development work to be the same and compete with RSS3?
I'll say as long as what we spend the time so long.
2 years.
Yeah, I'll say minimum 2 years. We didn't even finish most of the job. That's why we're still looking for getting more talent engineers that also being part of us to working on this industry. It's really hard working, and once it's been accomplished, the developers will have so much gains, like so easily to gaining all of the contents and the information and on-chain transaction and even your on-chain voting all in once. And that is something that will helping this ecosystem to growing more and more possibilities, and you're gonna see more talent people rushing in just simply because there's some better building tools. Yeah, so I would say maybe 2 or 3 years. That's the minimum request, and if you want to do bigger, it will cost more. Yeah.
Right.
Infrastructure is a really hardworking stuff. That's why most of our team are that kind of shying people that not really talk too much. Most of the time they're spending is talking with the code. Yeah.
I can't help ask another question.
No worries.
Are you afraid that, for example, the whole blockchain infrastructure is going to overhaul maybe in another 1 or 2 years? The mainstream chains are not going to be mainstream. There will be new emerging ones, and you need to develop the whole kind of work all over again to adapt into new ones.
It's actually not that kind of cases. So I'll split it to 2 questions.
Yeah.
So as long as 2 people that still believe in, for example, Ethereum, as long as there's consensus, Ethereum won't be fade out.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
As long as people are using it. So this is one of the questions. So no, there definitely will be more and more chains appearing, but as long as people are using it, as long as it got the contents that worth to be indexed, we'll do it. Yes, no matter how much it costs, how many manpower you're going to spend on it, we'll definitely push it forward and help them to accomplish their massive adoption dreams. Yeah, this is one of the part. And the second part, do you mind talking about it again? The second part.
Like you need to connect to all the new chains all over again.
Yeah. So our structures is not work that way. So for example, we're already having a fundamental platform that can be able to take over the on-chain transactions and the other stuff. So each of the chain is like a new plugin. So no matter we're supporting one chain or we're supporting
it's totally scalable.
Yeah, it's scalable. It's scalable at the beginning. Right. Yeah. Otherwise, it can't be distributed.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's
really appreciate it.
Very fruitful conversation with Usagi.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Really appreciate for the invite. Yeah.